Hello, good morning. Welcome to Sports Today. You are live with me, Rajashri Gupta. Well, India versus New Zealand, the second test at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai, but proceedings have been delayed a little bit. The toss has been postponed, has been delayed because of a wet outfield. The umpire said um, the priority was the safety of the fielders, the cricketers involved. Thereby, the toss has been delayed. Now, what else has been happening? Because in the build-up to this test match, of course, there was plenty of speculation, right, over who would replace Virat Kohli, over who goes out, what happens to Ajinkya Rahane, the Indian vice captain who was standing in as captain in Kanpur. He's been through a bit of a rough patch. Clearly, his form this year, averaging below 20 from 12 test matches, that has been a concern. Ishant Sharma was a concern. Wicketless for two consecutive test matches, didn't break through in Kanpur. It wasn't an easy pitch to bowl on, but New Zealand's pacers, Tim Southee and Kylie Jamieson, clearly were the standout pacers. Umesh Yadav did get a wicket here or there, but not as effective as you would have hoped for. Then, what are the updates? First off, the toss has been delayed, like I told you. There was an inspection scheduled at 9:30. The second inspection has now been scheduled for 10:30, which is about 12 minutes from now. But before I get to that, before I get to the pitch conditions, before I get to see what are the updates around the pitch, here's the big news. Three injury updates from India, which means Ishant Sharma, Ajinkya Rahane, and Ravindra Jadeja have been ruled out of the second test match with injuries. Ishant Sharma, of course, dislocated his little finger during the first test match in Kanpur. Ravindra Jadeja sustained an injury as well. And now it appears Ajinkya Rahane pulled up a hamstring, which means it's, of course, going to be easier for the Indian team to make those decisions because there was so much building up to this test match. Clearly, Ajinkya Rahane, who's been batting at number five, hasn't quite lived up to his expectations. And it's been a while, right? You look back at 2020, um, not a great year apart from that 100 at the MCG, which clearly was the turning point for India in Australia in that iconic series where the Indians won 2-1. But after that, he's even struggled at home. As has Cheteshwar Pujara at number three. Yes, number three is a specialized position in Test cricket. It is a critical position, and he just won't want to cast two players aside together. But here, what's happened is what we understand is that Ajinkya Rahane has been ruled out because of an injury. And had he not been injured, what sort of complication would that have given rise to? Because Shreyas Iyer played a gem of a test match, 100 on debut, followed by a 65, becoming the first Indian batter to score 100 and a half century on test debut. So that was quite a sterling effort from the young man. Shreyas Iyer, of course, his second test match for India, I'm sure. And he is going to play his first test match in Mumbai, his home ground. Ajinkya Rahane, by the way, this is a bit of a jinx or whatever you might call it. He's played about 79 test matches. He's never played in Mumbai. He's never played in his home ground. That is quite a quite a number to look at. Now I'm just going to go through some updates here on and figure out what's happening. Of course, you can follow IndiaToday.in sports for all the updates around sports, cricket, and of course, particularly this test match because our team there is diligently working on details. We're trying to figure out what's happening in Mumbai. We'll of course keep track of the toss whenever that happens. Of course, the first important thing is to look at the pitch. We'll figure out what the umpires decide after the inspection, which is about 11 minutes from now, 10 or 11 minutes. The other big news, of course, is that Kane Williamson has been ruled out for a sustained period because of he's been sidelined from the Mumbai test. He is, of course, like he's dealing with a long time elbow injury, right? So that's where you find Kane Williamson out of this test match, and in his place, Tom Latham will lead New Zealand. And who are the options then for New Zealand? Of course, Glenn Phillips and Darrell Mitchell are players they can look to replace Williamson. Plenty of questions coming in. I'll come to that. Yes, India's replacement, Jadeja's replacement. There is Jayant Yadav for good measure. He is, if you remember, Jayant Yadav. He first made his appearance for India in that Test series back in 2016, 2017. In that India's extended home season of Test cricket. Quite an impressive cricketer. He's of course played the IPL for Mumbai Indians, but he's potent against left-arm batsmen. He's a very good batsman himself. He's a good batter down the order, so he's a useful cricketer to have. Of course, Ravindra Jadeja, one of the best all-rounders in world cricket. Without him, this is. It is you don't want to go into a test match at home, especially without Ravindra Jadeja. But remember, against England, Ravindra Jadeja was missing from action. Even against England at home, after he had sustained that injury in Australia, Akshar Patel stepped in and bowled beautifully. And Akshar Patel has been in great form, right? Five wicket hauls in Test cricket in 8 innings so far. That's outstanding. Ashwin, just a legend. What a cricketer he is with bat ball. He's just a different league altogether. Just in a different league altogether. Jayant Yadav, if he does get to play, will get an opportunity after several years. So that's something I'm personally looking forward to as well. As for Ishant Sharma, yes, like Shreyas Srivastava rightly pointed out, even Ishant Sharma has been out of form, and I said that at the start of my show. He has been wicketless now for 2 Test matches. He looked a little listless. He's not looking. He's not been very probing. Who are the options for Ishant Sharma? Then, of course, Mohammad Siraj should walk straight in. What a dangerous bowler he has turned out to be. I was a little surprised when I didn't see Siraj for Kanpur. He, of course, injured. He got injured in that first T20. I did not play this next two. Was he still carrying that injury by the time the first Test match got underway, or did India just want to go in with their two most experienced pacers? But I thought Siraj should have been there in that Test match. He's one of those cricketers who can. He's one of those pacers who can really do a lot of damage, irrespective of the pitch, and he's shown that often enough. Debuting in Australia across formats, then against uh, England at home, he was superb, and then of course again against England in England, Siraj was quite outstanding as well. So I'm really looking forward to some blistering spells from Siraj, but we'll have to wait and figure out when this Test match starts. Virat Kohli did say yesterday the team combination will be decided upon after looking at conditions, after looking at the pitch. And Mumbai at Wankhede is known to assist paces a fair bit, and it's been raining in Mumbai, so you could expect some extra assistance for the pacers. Will New Zealand's pacers be licking their fingers? Will India want to just go out and throttle New Zealand up front? It's going to be very so crucial, right? Who wins the toss? And Virat Kohli's luck with the toss hasn't been that great. So hopefully for him, you'd see Virat Kohli returning to the side after a well-deserved break with a victorious toss. Because remember Rohit Sharma, talking of tosses, Rohit Sharma won all 3 tosses in the T20 series. Ajinkya Rahane won the toss in the first Kanpur Test as captain, and now it's up to Virat Kohli. Can he first start off with winning the toss? Also, quite a few replacements to look at. There's Surya Kumar Yadav in the side, of course. Does he get a look in? Beg your pardon. There's Ishant Sharma, straight away Mohammad Siraj walks in. Ravindra Jadeja straight away. You get to see Jayant Yadav walking in, and of course Virat Kohli coming in. Anyway, one batsman would have missed out, right? There was a lot of speculation. Should Ajinkya Rahane be given another couple of chances? Then there were reports around Mayank Agarwal. Should somebody else be asked to open? Should Kona Bharat be asked to open if he played and if Ridhiman Saha wasn't playing? So those are the options for India. I get the feeling we're of course going to wait for official confirmation, figure out what the playing 11 is. For me, it's pretty simple right now. Mayank Agarwal, Shubman Gill, the two openers retained. Pujara at number 3. Virat Kohli comes back and takes his position at number 4. Shreyas Iyer, fine performance on debut. Number 5. Number 6. Ridhiman Saha, they already declared him fit last afternoon. Virat Kohli at a press conference said Ridhiman Saha has recovered from a neck strain. Remember, he had a stiff neck and he couldn't keep wickets for majority of that first Test match in Kanpur. Batted brilliantly in the second innings, got an unbeaten 61. He had that partnership first with Iyer and then with Akshar Patel. So he battled pain and got those runs. Now he's going to. I don't think India would want to cast him aside for this final Test match against New Zealand in Mumbai. So you have Ridhiman Saha, you of course have Ashwin, Akshar Patel, Jayant Yadav, not a like-for-like replacement. Jadeja, the left-arm spinner, left-arm batter. Jayant Yadav, off-spinner, right-arm batter. And this is clearly Jadeja's in a different league. So you'll get to probably see Jayant Yadav and then uh, alongside Umesh Yadav. I suspect it's going to be Mohammad Siraj replacing Ishant Sharma, obviously, because he's injured. There you go. Shreyas, yes. KS Bharat should come in. No, I don't think that's going to happen in this test match. KS Bharat gave a very good account of himself with with the gloves behind the wickets, but I don't think yet there is any ground to believe Saha will be left out. Well, then, any update on Saha? Balaji Narayanan asking, yes, I just told you yesterday at the press conference, Virat Kohli did say Saha is fit and you could expect him to take the field. What's okay? We'll figure out some other comments there. DA Mouse Rahane dodged a bullet today. Hopefully, he'll play in South Africa. If that happens, we need his overseas class, and he can still deliver. In my opinion, I completely agree. With Rahane, his class has never been a question. His talent has never been a question. But I agree. Uh, he can deliver overseas. He can. His average at home hasn't been the greatest. In fact, his overall average has dipped beyond below 40 for the first time in his test career. And sometimes it's not a bad idea to stay away from the game for a while and probably work on your batting, work on your weakness. There was a lot of conversation around what's plaguing Rahane. A lot of former cricketers gave their opinions, and probably it will do him some good if he were to take a bit of a break from, you know, we don't know what the extent of his injury is, but certainly he might be selected for South Africa. Can he go there and really put all speculation to rest? Because it's ironical, in fact, I had just written this piece on India Today Sports last afternoon talking about Ajinkya Rahane. Last December, he was about to become this enduring hero for Indian cricket. Virat Kohli had come back home after that thrashing in the Adelaide day-night test match against Australia. It was Ajinkya Rahane who stood in as captain, scored 100 at MCG, led from the front, and steered India to victory to go one all. And then, of course, that gutsy fighting draw in Sydney, and then that sensational, dramatic victory at the Gabba, Australia's fortress. So, and Ajinkya Rahane was the captain. He marshaled his troops well, made some astute decisions, made some astute calls. So, and 1 year down the line, we're talking about whether Ajinkya Rahane should still be in the playing 11. So things can change very quickly in international sports. In international cricket, 1 year is a long time, and you've seen Rahane not quite deliver what we thought he could. Pawan should play as we should play three pacers. Well, that's an option. You never know whether India would want to play three pacers here, because the conditions there seem very, very seem extremely good for pacers, right? I mean, Wankhede, like I said, Wankhede, Mumbai, it's been known to assist pacers early on, and now with the rain, with the wind, with the breeze, would India be tempted to play that extra pacer? That could well be uh, another aspect. But again, looking at the scenario, Ravindra Jadeja going out, Jayant Yadav coming in. Not only does he add to spin, but he's also a good batter lower down the order. Remember, so that's going to be another option to weigh in for India, because Ravindra Jadeja is now India's number 6. He came in ahead of Saha, remember. So, I mean, he came in ahead of Ajinkya Rahane in England. So, that is something India will have to uh, keep track of. Well, that's somebody's talking about Surya Kumar Yadav, but no, Surya Kumar Yadav. I don't see a space for him in this team, because Virat Kohli comes back in, and since Ajinkya Rahane is out injured, so that's a simple in out. Like I said, Ishant Sharma goes out, and in comes Mohammad Siraj, Ravindra Jadeja. There's of course Jayant Yadav, but will India like to play that extra seamer if they want to? They of course have Prasadh Krishna in their uh, in their dressing room to look at. Well, 10:30 it is. It is time for the pitch inspection. We'll try and figure out what's uh, what's the update then. What is going on? Do we have an update? Because remember, once we understand what the conditions are like, what the outfield is like, we'll be able to figure out and tell you what's happened with the toss, what time you're going to get the toss. So a lot of that will depend, of course, on the pitch inspection. I'm just trying to figure out whether we have any updates. Akshay, if you can hear me, can you send me some updates on the pitch and whether the umpires are walking out into the middle? Because this is toss has been delayed obviously for 90 minutes now. The toss was scheduled to take place at 9 o'clock. It's 10:30 now. Play should have gone. Play should have started at 9:30. Well, Akshay tells me inspection is on, so the pitch inspection is on currently. We'll figure out. I'll just hang out with you for another couple of minutes. Then I see the umpires are out for inspection. Apparently, Simon Duell on air says it's very damp still, but and the sun has gone out. So, oh, is it looking good? Not quite. If it's still very damp, you won't get to see um, play starting immediately. So that's the update then. From what I see, of course, it's an unofficial update. This is what Simon Duell, the former New Zealand pacer and commentator now, is saying on air. From what I know, the umpires are out for another inspection, and no player is out on the ground. So that's what you can see on your television screens as well. The bowling side won't be comfortable. Whoever wins the toss and has to bowl, or lose the toss, whichever team is bowling after the toss, wouldn't be very comfortable, would they? Especially with the pacers, they'd be really, really worried about that landing. So that is going to be critical to look at what happens. And the umpires did mention, like I said at the head of my show, that you're looking at player safety. That is an important issue. If the outfield is damp, if the um, if the square is still damp, I don't think the umpires would take a chance. I don't think the teams would want to take a chance and step out of the field. So that is why the inspection is so critical. We're going to figure out now officially. Okay, so from what I also understand, the umpires are having a chat with Jawad Srinath, the match referee, now updating him undoubtedly about conditions on the ground. And let us figure out what's so that's what we getting to understand from the ground is that it's dried out a reasonable amount, but it's still pretty damp underneath. Now, what that means is obviously, like Duel said, the bowling side wouldn't be comfortable. Whoever wins the toss decides to bat, bowl, whatever happens, the other side has to bowl, right? So they wouldn't be too keen on going through with this immediately, at least. So that's that then. 9 o'clock. The toss was supposed to take place at 9 o'clock. Play was supposed to start at 9:30, and it's 10:30, 10:33 now. So it's about 1 hour 3 minutes away. 1 hour 3 minutes past scheduled play time. Well, I'll just as we wait for the inspection to conclude, as we wait for more official confirmation. Here is what we know. Here is what we've told you so far. 3 injury updates for India. Ishant Sharma, Ajinkya Rahane, and Ravindra Jadeja ruled out. I feel it's going to be Siraj in for Ishant, obviously Kohli in for Rahane, and they'd probably be looking at Jayant Yadav or Prasidh Krishna for Ravindra Jadeja. That's a big, big hole to fill, right? Ravindra Jadeja with his runs, with his wickets, and with his fielding. Imagine how many runs he saves on the field. Okay, then the update is game to start at 12 noon. Toss at 11:30. That's the breaking news. Toss will take place at 11:30, and the match will start at 12 noon, which is what we have got you. Which means the first session has been officially has been lost to wet outfield and due to bad conditions because of rain in Mumbai. So obviously the outfield was wet and the area around the pitch and the square was damp. So that is the official confirmation then. The toss will take place at 11:30 a.m., which is about an hour from now, 56 minutes from now, and the match will start at 12 noon is the update from Wankhede. Well, then, this is what you've heard now. This is what I am getting to hear. In fact, Akshay has been updating me with all these updates, with all these updates from the ground. So this is what we can tell you. The inspection has taken place. The toss will take place at 11:30 a.m., which is about an hour from now, and the test match will start at 12 noon, by which time they're expecting the ground to be sufficiently better for play. And of course, like I said, the priority of the safety of the players is priority. Well, then that's all that I have for now. We'll of course come back to you at toss. We'll tell you exactly what the team changes are. I've given you my opinion. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what works. But I get the feeling it's going to be mostly Jayant Yadav in for Jadeja. Again, of course, the teams out there will assess the conditions. And no Kane Williamson for New Zealand, Tom Latham to lead. No Rahane, no Ishant, and no Jadeja in that lineup as well. Well, then, thank you so much. I'll come back to you very soon while I'm gone. And while I come back to you in just about an hour, please do subscribe to Sports Today and keep supporting this platform. Thank you so much. Have a very, very good morning. And I'll see you back very soon. Come back right here. Thank you.